God bless America, land that I love, stand beside. Hello, everybody. So after the Journal Show, I am he. How y'all is? Come on in. The water is fine. I got another show for you, an informative one, indeed. This show here is geared to the people who probably don't know what's going on in American politics as it pertains to world affairs. I want to take some time here to kind of educate many of you on what's going on, and so that you can be informed as to why things happened the way they did happen yesterday with the meeting of the summit with Donald Trump, America with North Korean leader and totalitarian leader and dictator Kim Jong. Got a lot of information here to give to you. And again, go ahead and tag your friends and your young people and your family members, those who don't watch the news or don't pay any attention or who don't really care. Let this be a textbook for those of you who may be confused at what just happened with the summit and what's the whole purpose of it. Okay, blessings to you, Tommy, and some of you who are chiming in. Others will chime in a little later on. You know, there are a group of people who are very gullible. All right, and I talk about these gullible people quite a bit, and they live in America. Number one group of gullible people are African Americans, especially those who are Pentecostals, those people who attend churches faithfully on Sunday. People can say things and cause these people here, this group of people, to believe anything, especially when someone uses religious banter. All right, those people are easily moved, and Jesus talked about these people, and be careful. The Apostle Paul also did the same thing about being careful of the wiles and the tricks of the devil. All right, and so many have come in like wolves, and they grab the sheep. The other set of gullible people are white evangelicals who were responsible for voting and choosing as their superior leader Donald J. Trump. That group is extremely gullible. You turn on their TV, that's TBN, the Church Channel, the Word Network, and things like that, and you'll see how gullible they are by using the same type of banter, religious banter. The next group of people are those who are narcissists. And narcissistic people are very easily to be manipulated because all you have to do is praise them. And once you praise them, you could get things done, even though it might be against their policy, it might be against what they believe. But if you praise them, if you become yes men and yes ladies, all right, then you can get things done. Blessings to you, Tiffany. It's so good to see you. All right. Well, that is the great Donald J. Trump, who is a businessman and who, if you come across as kissing up to this man, you will get things done. You will get the things that you need. Why do you think it was so easy for Kim Kardashian West to come to the White House and get that woman sentence commuted? Not pardoned, but commuted, because she did what others are able to do with Donald Trump. This situation here is scientific. Okay, it is a social awareness that we need to pay close attention to what happened in in Singapore with this meeting. Okay, again, for those of you who don't watch the news, let me catch you up on some things maybe you did not see happen. All right. There is a picture of Donald Trump with our foreign allies, I think right here. This picture here, as you can see, German, Merkel, you see Japanese, all right. This Bolton, the man who went down there to Singapore to represent Donald Trump. Now look at Donald Trump. Okay, and look at our allies here. Now they're stunned at him, especially her. She's kind of eyeing him down. They're stunned because he will not sign the G7 joint agreement. Donald Trump pretty much insulted our allies, the ones who, if we go to war, they're going to war as well. There's an agreement. They are our brothers and sisters, all right? They got our back. And he insulted especially the Prime Minister of Canada recently, and the Prime Minister pretty much says, we don't bow to the United States. And pretty much is what he says. Blessings to you, Elder Kevin McGee. All right? He insulted Germany. He insulted France, and he probably insulted Great Britain. Now, these are our allies. These are people who we need. Okay? But then what did he do with Kim Jong? What did he do? He called him all. He did everything but kiss him in the lips. Funny. There's a funny catch-22, a type of double standard here that I see in American politics, and it is disgusting to myself and gosh, and to God and the rest of you. He said that Kim was funny and he was smart and he's talented, but when he speaks of Barack Obama or Clinton, he calls them all kind of words and names. Some of those in Congress, if they're against him, he'll call them weird things. You know, that's just the way it is. But how was it possible that he could kiss up to a foreign leader like North Korea, this rogue machine? Okay. I'm gonna show you some things here. Fox News, a news station that many of my friends like to watch. Someone is pulling an oak. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Elder Kevin McGee, I'm there with you. I want to show you something here. I don't know if you can hear the audio, but let me show you what a great piece that what's it called? Now in News or something like that. Put together. And whatever you say on the news is going to be remembered. Okay, one right here. Check this out.
When he said he would be willing to meet with U.S. enemies, this is all put together by the social media outlet Now This News. Would you, as president, meet with the leaders of a country like North Korea? Obama extraordinarily said, I'd meet with them. Senator Obama made his friends with our enemies. President Obama,
okay.
The leaders of a
Sorry, the phone rang. Let me try this again.
country like North Korea. Obama extraordinarily said, I'd meet with him. Senator Obama made his intentions crystal clear on the campaign trail.
I will meet, not just with our friends, but with our enemies.
President Obama likes talking to dictators.
He would meet with some of these madmen without any preconditions.
You know, I'm going to reach out to these crazy people around the world and try to get things done.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake.
Obama is bowing and scraping before dictators.
A remarkable turnaround in relations between two historic adversaries. The Commander-in-Chief's leadership is now leading to a major foreign policy breakthrough.
Another stunning Donald Trump breakthrough.
President Trump scoring a big win.
It's time to celebrate a great victory when it happens.
We are really in danger of living in a sort of pretty little dream world where Barack Obama thinks the power of his personality is going to have this incredible transformative impact on these crazy men.
President Trump made the decision himself to meet face-to-face with Kim Jong.
This guy has a very unique quality of leadership.
He is so charming. He can deal with people. He can get along with people. I think that this will only work out well.
Jake Tapper. I mean, it's like you watch that, you watch the arc, and it's almost like record scratch.
Yeah, it's crazy. The idea that anybody can look at human rights issues, whether it's the Castros or the mullahs in Iran or Kim Jong-un or the Kim family, through a political partisan lens of the United States. If Obama does it, it's bad. If Trump does it, it's good, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It is stunning to me. Human issues are human rights issues.
Yeah. It's stunning to me as well, Tapper. Quite stunning. It's straight hypocrisy. Shante Charles says, it's amazing that this happens every 4 years, depending on who's in office. Notice, when Barack Obama was reaching out to those thinking about it, this was in 2008 when he was running, and he mentioned that he would reach out to the North Korean leader, and they said, you crazy. Yeah, you are crazy. You can't use your charismatic character, all this stuff. It's just amazing. But their guy in office right now, and then they said he's such a charmer. Yes, that's what we're dealing with right now, and I'm not surprised. I don't think any of you are. Now, here's the thing here. There was a declaration that went forth in 1948. I think it was called the United Declaration of Human Rights. It is a document that most of you, if not many of you, never seen. And this document is like our Constitution of the United States. It is the document. It's like more so like our Bill of Rights. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, yada, 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 that then gives us Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, on and on. But there is one, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Matter of fact, I have a picture here from the United Nations website. Here, let me, I'm messing up here, y'all. Hold on. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm screwing up. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I lost the screen here. Okay. Yeah, right here. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. United Nations. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a milestone document in the history of human rights, drafted by the representatives with different legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions of the world. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris, December 10, 1948. That was the year before the United States declared Israel, a state. As a common standard of a treatment for all peoples of all the nations, it set out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected, and it has been translated in over 500 languages. There's the preamble. There are the articles. There's about 30 of them. Okay, 30 articles. And it's really simple. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and they are endowed with reason and conscience, and should act towards one another in the spirit of brotherhood. Okay? Laid out there. Straightforward. Okay? Yesterday, Singapore laid out the red carpet for Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il, by this same website, is charged him or accused him of murder, extermination, enslavement, imprisonment, rape, torture, crimes against humanity. But they rolled the carpet out to him, and the United States put the United States flag and the North Korean flag together in the background, side by side. And what did this do? What message is this sending to North Korea? Oh, it's sending a big one. Yes. It's sending a big one. Now, if you noticed, Donald Trump likes to use superlatives, okay, when he talks. Let me set this up. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting dizzy too. He liked to use superlatives. And notice when they ask him a question, he'll say, "Great! It is the best we've ever. We didn't think it was going to be. It's better than we've ever expected." He is the president of superlatives. Because that's the way, that is his way to show you, that is the leakage out of his body of his narcissistic and psychotic way of always being in control and being superior and controlling the moment and keeping the attention on him. So that's why he uses those superlatives a lot. Okay? Understand that. President Barack Obama, he was criticized by conservatives when he went over there to Cuba, when he talked to the Cuban leader. Criticized harshly. How dare you talk with a dictator like that? Ronald Reagan in 1980, 86 somewhere, had another one of these kind of meetings with Mikhail Gorbachev, and they met over in Iceland, I believe it was. And when they went over there, Gorbachev, the Russian leader, asked Reagan to end his strategic initiative. I think he called it Star Wars. Anybody remember that? He told him to end that. And if he do that, then Russia would back up and maybe knock down or their stockpiles or get rid of some of their missiles, ballistic missile issues and things like that. What was Ronald Reagan's response? No. And he walked away from the deal. The same guy, Bolton, who's over there yesterday with Trump, was the same guy with Ronald Reagan who criticized him even going over there to meet. The same guy now is saying, yes, let's do this deal. Oh, man. What message is it sending to citizens here? Yeah, ooh-wee. Camptown racists. Ah, man, y'all see, there it is right there. Camptown racists. All right? Now, do I support the meeting? I sure do. I sure do. I believe we should talk to our enemies. Yes, I do. I, Sir Walter Jones, believe that we should always find a way to peace. And we should find a way to talk to our leaders. So I support Donald Trump in that attempt. Was he the right one for the job? No. But he is the president of the United States right now. Some of his advisors would have been better representation of meeting with Kim Jong. But because he's the president, he got us in the door. If he was a very smart man, he would listen closely to his advisors. All right? All right. So he piles up with this dictator, and I know he can't help himself because when he's trying to make a deal, you got to understand he is a businessman. So when he's trying to make a deal, it doesn't matter who he's with. He's trying to make that deal, and he uses his personality, his charismatic way to do that. He can't control how he praises even the dictator. Yet Charles says, peace at what extent? Yeah, I'm going to go there. Okay. North Korea has broken their promises at least 4 times. Kim Jong-il's, and then there's his father, and then the grandfather. There was one in 1985, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. They broke it. North Korean South Agreement in 1992. Broke it. The Agreed Framework in 1994. They broke it. The North-South Joint Declaration Agreement in 2000. Broke it. That's interesting. So what Donald Trump did was he went there to try to make a deal of denuclearizing North Koreans' stockpiles and what have you. Unfortunately, what you don't know that there's 141 of them suckers. It's going to take a long process for that to happen. He was so sure that he said that Kim Jong-il is leaving now. When he get home, he believed that right away, tonight, he's going to start denuclearizing this evening. So they said we're going to do a signing, and so they had the paper there, and this document is getting ready. They signed this document. What did the document say? This document was vague. It's an unenforceable commitment to agree to something down the road. That's all the document was. There was no assurity, no timeline, no nothing. Just, yeah, I'll do it. And Trump took it and ran with it. Yeah, businessman. It's just amazing. I don't think he run his Trump hotels like that. It's just amazing. Okay, what did North Korea get out of the deal? Trump says he's going to stop this, what he called provocative war games. Provocative war games, which is over there in South Korea, which is the Korean Peninsula. What we do every now and then, I don't know, once or twice a year, I can't remember. There's war games. It's called war games, but what we're doing is war exercises. Is pretty much what it is. In the United States, we're over there making sure that we are ready just in case there is a conflict with North Korea and our ally South Korea. And so we have a plot of land over there, and then we just bomb ground. That's all we do. And it trains our military. And number two, what it does is it allows North Korea to see what we're doing so that we could wag our pretty much tails in front of them. That's what that is. And it helps. Just read this. Yes, come on. I'm trying to tell you. What are you saying here? I just left Korea. Tammy Briggs. You need to tell us about that, Tammy. Like Obama made the deal with Iran, who can't be trusted. Can't be trusted to keep his word. Just can't. This is something that you really got to examine. All right. So what did North Korea get out of the deal? North Korea never wanted those provocative war games over there. They says, please stop it. So Trump says, okay, we're going to stop it. He didn't even tell his military people that's going to happen. He didn't tell his vice president. He just said it. Well, all right, I'm going to stop it. And it shocked his own cabinet. You're going to do what? Yeah, we're going to stop that. So give them something as they give us the promise. How can they give us the promise, and how do we know that they're going to do it? We don't, because North Korea is a very secret society, and they don't allow you over there to look into what they're doing. We did exercise, and the North Korean provocations increased. Tammy, look at that. Did y'all hear that? Y'all hear it? There's a military person right there. It increased. Yep, that's the Iron Curtain. So what's going on here? What did we learn out of this whole meeting today? There's an article here that says our presidents have met with dictators, but they didn't praise these dictators because he called them. Matter of fact, I want to go back to some of the insults. Let's see. Kim had people around the world reaching for the dictionary when he called Trump a mentally deranged U.S. dotard, is a word he used, saying that he would tame him with fire. And the insult equivalent to calling Trump an old lunatic was a response to Washington's threat to total destroy North Korea and came at the height of the war of words between the two foes. Remember, Donald Trump says, we're going to destroy them. It's the same thing what Iran said to Israel, to Jerusalem, that we're going to wipe them off the face of the earth. And it's pretty much a foretaste of what the scripture said, that the prophecy that was said in Proverbs, I think it was Psalms, that Iran was going to try and wipe Jerusalem off the face of the earth. And Ahmadinejad, at that time, who was the president of Iran, said the exact same thing. Yes. And so Trump took a page from that book and says, we can destroy. See, he's using these big bully words and don't even know the impact that it would have if there is a war happens between us and North Korea. You got to understand, as far as the largest economy in the world, we might be number one, but China is number two. Japan is the number 3 largest economy. South Korea in the middle is the 11th largest economy. Understand that. This could cause a catastrophic domino effect to happen, because you can't be trying to bomb North Korea and not affect South Korea. You can't try and bomb North Korea and not have China to come after you, because that's China's ally, North Korea. You just can't do it. So we put sanctions on North Korea, and we should keep the sanctions, but North Korea is trying to get those sanctions released. That's the whole reason why Kim Jong even agreed to coming over to, not over here, but to signing or meeting with Donald Trump is, number one, release those sanctions. Number two, stop with the war games. Okay. Number three, I want an extended photo op. Number four, I want to be now considered around the world as a bona fide and respected leader, a relevant leader. And those photo ops with Donald Trump continually patting him on the back, shaking his hand, pulling him in, and calling him these beautiful, cute names that if Obama ever considered calling this man these names, the conservatives would go absolutely bonkers. But Trump is allowed to do it because these conservatives, and I'm a conservative, all right, but I'm not a part of that particular tribe, all right? It's embarrassing what our leader did. And remember when Barack Obama went over to some foreign land and he bowed? It was a gesture. They don't just shake hands, but he bowed, and Fox News went absolutely crazy. Our president is bowing, and that shows that our nation is weak. So what did Trump do? He continued to shake this man's hand, pat him on the back, and call him these cute little nice names like they're Jonathan and David, but there was no kickback on that. Yes, Tammy, political lynching for Obama. Yeah, and it's just amazing the double standard that we're seeing here. Oh man, it's amazing, and we should be used to this. So when I hear and I read from my white conservative friends on Facebook and I see the constant defense of this president, I ignore it now. I tease them with it, but I mostly ignore it because I'm noticing that they are completely tribal to this man and to that party. And so what they do, they deflect and talk about Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, the Democratic Party, and they go all over there, or they go over there and stay over there, not really addressing the issue that we have with this president and the people who support him. Blessings to you, Jason Shepard. So he called him a mentally deranged dotard. So what did Trump do? He says, it appeared that the 71-year-old Trump took offense not at the allegations of insanity, but rather at the dig at his age. In response to the dotard insult, he took aim at North Korean leaders' physical dimensions. He said, "Why would Kim Jong insult me by calling me old when I would never call him short and fat?" Y'all remember that? Yes. And then in his debut speech at the United Nations last September, Trump derided Kim as Rocket Man on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. And doubling down on his insulting language, he referred to Kim as a sick puppet on the heels of an intercontinental ballistic missile test in that territory there. And then in his dotard statement in response to Trump's UN speech, Kim also said, "A frightening dog barked louder." You see these little boys going back and forth with each other? After the U.S. president noted his nuclear button was much bigger and more powerful than Kim's. My button's bigger than yours. And then, not a personal insult, but one of the most intimidating of Trump's threats came in August after U.S. media reported that Pyongyang had successfully miniaturized a nuclear warhead to fit into a missile, right? Then here's what he said. "North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States," said Trump, his arms folded in defense and bellicose body language. He says, "They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen." Child's play. Two boys. And Fox News made a mistake and said that they both were dictators. I laughed, and I know it was a Freudian slip, but it was funny. Trump said, here's what his words, "No regime has oppressed its own citizens more totally or brutally than the cruel dictatorship in North Korea." You heard that? Declared President Trump's accurately at his State of the Union address. Now, hear me. The State of the Union address was just in January. All right? We're 6 months in, 5 months in, okay? His words were clear. He said, no regime has oppressed its own citizens more totally or brutally than the cruel dictatorship in North Korea. How is it that 6 months later, he's kissing up to the same man who he considers to be the worst? He's in Singapore saying anybody that takes over a situation like he did at 26 years of age and is able to run it and run it tough, Trump said. I don't say he was nice or say anything about it. He ran it. Few people at that age, you could take 1 out of 10,000 could not do it. He just wasn't a nice man. He just ran it tough. The language Trump uses here is telling. He is calling Kim's regime tough, which is language he reserves for praise. Rough and tough is Trump speak for the kind of brutality he considers necessary. He said, he has to do it. He has to rule with an iron fist, tough. Yeah. Trump urges police to be rougher. That's what he said about American police. They need to be rougher. We're getting them criminals out anyway, but we'd like to get them out a little faster. And when you see these towns and when you see these thugs being thrown into the back of a paddy wagon, you just see them thrown in rough. I said, please don't be too nice. And he wants protesters to be treated rough. In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very rough. And when they protested once, they would not do it again so easily. Y'all remember these words that he used? He used the same words, same language to say that Kim Jong used this rough and tumble because the people apparently needed this. He was 26 years old. Oh, man. The NK had family members killed. Yes, I'm trying to tell y'all, this is the language of your president. And it's amazing that he received the support that he's getting from those of you who continue to applaud him for it. Again, I support the attempt of peace. Now, to what cost, though? To what cost? All right. Now, what did the United States get out of this meeting yesterday? A weak promise from a totalitarian leader, the last one that we can think of, who's wiping out his own people. And what promise did we get? Man, I tell you, this is tough. This is tough. I'm going to go to scripture to see if I can find anything close to what this president probably could have done. Nobody played nice with Saddam Hussein. Thank you for bringing that up, Tammy. 1991-92 was the original, the Gulf, the Persian, the Gulf War. It's the Persian Gulf, pretty much what it is. George Bush Sr. Notice the language that he used with Saddam. He called him Saddam. Saddam Hussein. He called him all kind of names. He never was nice to him. Right? Did all he could to get rid of him. South Korea is a strong ally that just got smacked in the face. Yes. I'm looking at the reason why I'm bringing up the Bible is because here's why. Donald Trump was elected by white evangelicals mostly and black pastors. Ooh, did y'all hear me say that? Because you know it's true. He was elected by black pastors and white evangelicals, and they herald him as God's man. Now, I believe that God is in the detail. God knows what he's doing because there is And when God allowed things to happen, it's still a part of the plan if he allowed it. There's what's called his permissive will and his perfect will. This could be perfect or permissive. I don't know which one it is, but a will is a will. So God allowed this man to be the president. Okay? Just like he allowed King Saul to be the king because the people wanted it. Even though God rejected he didn't want the request, but he granted the request because he was trying to teach the people a lesson. So white evangelicals and black pastors voted for this man, and God was trying to teach the people a lesson. And he warned the children of Israel what Saul was going to do to them if he became king, and they says, we don't care. Well, he allowed America to see who Donald Trump was all these years. Those black men who were accused of raping this girl in the park in New York, Donald Trump put a front page ad in the paper. He wanted them dead. Bring back the death penalty and all kind of things. And then when they realized that it was a mistake, these men didn't do it. Trump didn't back up at all. So America saw who this man was. And he says that I would put Tic Tacs in my mouth and touch women's vajayjays. They saw who he was. This was before they went to the voting booth. They saw who he was. They saw the bigotry. They saw all that, and they still voted for this man, King Saul. It says, we're not trying to vote in a pastor in chief. We're just voting in a president. Okay, so because he talked so well about what was going to do for the churches, right? He talked about God, and he held his Bible in his hand and says, 2 Corinthians. Yeah, right? You're right. And he needed to be validated. And that's what's happening. That what happened yesterday with Kim Jong. President Trump validated Kim Jong-il to the world. So Kim Jong went back home with these pictures to show to his people, because those people are not allowed to watch the news. So the government dictates to the people what they are to see. And propaganda will show Trump and Kim hand to hand. And their news media will write up what the people need to see. And North Korea won. North Korea won. United States 0. God allowed them to see him for who he was months before the polls. He got in office, and a white nationalist drove his car in a crowd of people and killed a woman. Donald Trump said, these are good people. And he didn't lose any voters. Yeah, he didn't lose any voters. And my white friends are saying black people are better off now than they ever have been, almost in American history, because of what Donald Trump did. And I'm amazed by it. 1 Samuel chapter 15. Now watch this. The reason why I'm bringing the scriptures into this is because, number one, white evangelicals herald him as God's man. They herald him and said that God is going to do a miraculous work through him for foreign affairs and for the American people. And they begin to use these spiritual terms, all right? And he's a no-nonsense law and order president. What they don't get, though, is law and order. Sorry, my Wi-Fi act up. There's a difference between law and order and the rule of law. Anybody get that? You see, this presidency and these terms called law and order, that's a code. But they're using law and order like they did in Jim Crow, but don't know the rule of law or the rule of order. There's a difference between the two. So you could try and push law and order on the people and go against the rule of law, you're going to lose. Church full of black people voted for him in this area. Karen says, I know. So this godly president, because whenever you watch evangelical TV, all right, TBN, Church Channel, Word Network, maybe Fox News, or maybe conservative radio, they all talk about how much of a prophet he is. All right. So because he's a prophet, they said that he is going to stare these dictators in the face and tell them that America first and America this and that. That's what they said before he became president. And they're saying this now. And they said that's the way he's going to be with Kim Jong. Well, here's a story on how God handled through the prophets these kings and these foreign dignitaries and leaders who were evil. You remember when Saul was sent over to kill the king and everybody there and don't bring nothing home. And it says, then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king. For he is turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night long. Who crying out to the Lord for the sake of what we got here in the office? Do you think any of the white evangelicals are crying out to the Lord whenever Donald Trump make some kind of gaffe or Freudian slip or some nasty term? He called those players in NFL the sons of bees. And he called the white nationalists good people, and all these things that he say, these horrible things that he say. Do you think any of these people are repenting for voting for this man, or do they continue to high five and celebrate him? I was visiting a church, and they had a visiting woman pastor, and she was proud of the fact that she was President Trump's pastor. I'm amazed by these pastors. Okay, and in the story here, you notice how Samuel starts to rebuke Saul for doing the very opposite that God told him to do. And Saul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites. You're talking about all the Samuel's like, hey, I'm hearing lambs in the back. I'm smelling livestock. What's going on? And so Saul blames the people. He blames the people. No, they bring this back to sacrifice unto the Lord. Samuel says, really? And he goes on banter. Then it says here, but the people took of the spoil, the sheep and the oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, so to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. Oh, man. And then Samuel says, have the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Oh, wait. This is something here. This seems so familiar. Oh, one of those Mary girls voted for him too. I'm not surprised. It says here in 32, then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag. That was the king. Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, as thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among the women. And Samuel hewn Agag in pieces before the Lord of Gilgal. This is crazy, man. The king was like, woo, I'm good. I'm safe. And Samuel says, nah. Oh, no, you ain't. He says, because You evil king have made many of women childless. You killed all these people like Kim Jong, and so I got to kill you. Oh man, this is tough. Because the Lord has spoken. I cannot honor you and kiss up to you after all the catastrophe you did. This teaching is going to upset y'all. It's upsetting y'all. He's a murderer. An exterminator. He enslaved his people, imprisoned his people, he raped his people, and tortured his people. Kim Jong-il did, and the man of the free world is high-fiving him and almost hugged him. But he's God's man. Samuel killed that king. I said, we can't have this. Now, am I saying that Trump should have killed Kim Jong-il? Well, I don't think that's possible. With what's going on there, that ain't possible. Oh, man. But watch here in 1 Kings chapter 18, though. It says here, and now thou sayest, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah says, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab. Y'all know who Ahab is? That evil king. This is a tough one, y'all. This is a tough one. Let's see. And Elijah says, as the Lord host liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. They called Donald Trump Elijah. I heard it through my own big ears. They called him this. And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel? Ooh, this is good stuff. And he answered, Elijah, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Balaam. Now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. Y'all already know the story, what Elijah did on Mount Carmel. Y'all remember that story? Well, how is it possible that Donald Trump did the reverse? Here's with the opportunity for the man who is of the free world of the United States to show North Korea how powerful we are. That's what Elijah did. He showed Ahab and those people how powerful the kingdom of God was. That was Donald Trump's perfect opportunity to do it, and he didn't. How was it possible that Ahab, that's Kim Jong or June, whatever his name is, how was it possible that he walked away from the deal with a better deal than us? And we're the most powerful nation in the world. Yeah, the merciless always want mercy. It's just amazing. So in 24 to 48 hours, our president insults Canada and Germany and France and probably Italy and probably Great Britain and all our other allies, insults them, and then goes over and kisses up to a dictator. Signs a piece of paper that means nothing, is empty, gives him what he want, a little bit of what he want, and we get nothing but an empty promise. That's your president. That's who we're working with. If Barack Obama had did this much of that, they be trying to impeach him today. And y'all got to understand, I bring his name up because of the obvious hypocrisy. And I didn't even vote for Barack Obama. Twice, I didn't vote for him. It's obvious hypocrisy. So it's difficult for me to watch the news today because I see the delusion on the people who are tribal. Far left, far right. Yeah. Today somebody called me the accuser of the brethren. I was with my dear friend Percy Beatty of the Thompson Community Singers, and he was laughing. We were cracking up. We had breakfast together today. And he said, man, somebody came to me and said that you listen to the So Walter Jones show? He was like, yeah, I listen to that. That's my friend. He said, yeah, why does he say the things that he say? That he's an accuser of the brother. Percy said, huh? He said, yeah. He shouldn't be saying some things because that some things don't need to be talked about openly. And Percy, in my defense, says, those things need to be talked about openly. That's what the problem of the church is today. We don't talk about that stuff openly, so we will continue to stay in the state that we're in. So I will continue to educate and talk about the chaos that we put ourselves in and allow ourselves to continue to be recycled in this chaos, not just in religion, but also in politics, also in education. Gosh, we just got problems, and we keep allowing people to keep us down and suppressed and poor. That's what we do. We do it on purpose. We can't blame nobody but ourselves for us staying down and being poor spiritually, poor in health, poor in finance, poor politically. Okay? We're doing this to ourselves. You can't blame no type of oppressor. No, because we're powerful. Do you not know the African Americans is a $1.2 trillion economy? That if we were a nation, we probably would be number 9. Let me see. Let's see. We would, we'd probably be number 9, 10 or something like that. Because China is an $11 trillion economy. Do you not know that Japan is a $4.9 trillion economy? 4.9. Watch this, though. South Korea is $1.4 trillion economy. 1.4. So we probably would be the 12th largest economy in the world, African Americans, not black people around the world, African Americans. That means black people who live in America. We would be the 12th or 13th largest economy in the world because South Korea is the 11th. With that kind of spending power, we are forced to be reckoned, but we're wasteful. Oh, Lord. Yep, the sleeping giants. We would definitely be in a better position than the U.S. for sure. That's why they are afraid of what we can do if we really come together. Yeah, Vanessa said, Wakanda. Yes, we'd be Wakanda forever. Now, that's shocking. That a people could be $1.2 trillion spending power every year, but be as poor as we are from the top of our heads to the soles of our feet. What are we doing with that $1.2 trillion? We don't own anything major that we can really brag about in America, but yet we are the 12th or 13th largest economy in the world. But we don't really own anything. Ain't that something? That's an embarrassment. We can't buy a stick of gum. We just making Nike richer. Like, well, we making all these. We're making Apple products big richer. We're making Samsung richer. We're making Microsoft richer. We're making IBM richer. We're making all of the intercom telecommunications, cable televisions richer. We're making AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile, Boost Mobile, okay, MCS and all these other places. We're making them richer. It's just, isn't that something? Our presence is not, we got people in the stock market, but our major presence we don't have. And so what they do is they make you feel like you're empowered by putting a woman or a man as CEO over a corporation. Make you feel like you have arrived. I think since these two black men being kicked out of a Starbucks, I think they put a woman over Starbucks. There's a black woman over, remember Oscars went all white? Well, there's a black woman that's the president over the Academy Awards, okay? And black people are CEOs, or they're just passing out CEOs to all kind of black folks. Still, we have no power. BET, what we used to own, we don't own that no more, got sold. Motown, we owned that, Barry Goldie sold that, got rid of that. Ebony magazine, I think Ebony and Jet, that stuff is gone. What's the other one? That Black Hair magazine, something like that. Sold, gone. Okay. I think do we still have Johnson & Johnson? I think it might be gone too. All right. How is that possible? That we don't have any of that stuff. Making Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Kate Spade richer. Well, not Kate Spade. Beauty supply stores richer. Yes, we're living out of our emotions. Black women at ABC. Yes, a black woman at ABC who canceled Roseanne. You see, we're in those positions. Charles, we've got some McDonald's. We've got the black owners of McDonald's, okay, but we don't own McDonald's. You see? Aunt Jemima, Tammy said, Tammy, I like you. Okay? What is going on there? You know who is the one man that I am extremely proud of? Extremely proud of. Tammy said Grey's Anatomy. Yes, well, what's her name? The writer of Grey's Anatomy and How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal and all that stuff. You know who I'm proud of, y'all? I'm proud of, who was that purchased the Weather Channel? That's what I'm proud of. What's his name? Byron? Roebuck, who was black, was knocked out of, used to be called Sears and Roebuck. They had to let Roebuck go. Yeah, man. They even talked about the black man who's responsible for this Edison invention. In part, that whole light bulb thing, and a black man's name popped up there. She's a writer, but does not own a network. That was my point, Lisa. Byron Allen bought the Weather Channel. See, at Byron, y'all was sleeping on Byron, but Byron is not sleep, was never slept, never sleep. I'm sorry. He bought the Weather Channel for $300 million. One black man and his consortium, his company, bought the Weather Channel. You know how big that is? We should be talking about that every single day. Huge. Allen Media. And he's a comedian. Oh, Lord, I don't think y'all understand how big that is. Can you imagine if we continue to do something like that? Oh, man. Struck a deal to acquire the Weather Channel from Comcast Corporation, a private equity firm, Blackstone Group, LP, and Bain Capital for $300 million. You got to understand, it wasn't just the Weather Channel that he bought. Whoo! That's huge. I look at what's his name on the What's this? What is that show? Who's that over Fubu? I look at what's his name on the what's that? What is it? Shark Tank. Okay, we need more men like that. Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, billionaires. And funny thing, if you ask white folks to give a name of white multimillionaires and billionaires, man, they'll be. You ask black folks who are multimillionaires or billionaire, we probably can come up with about 4 names. Vanessa gave us 2. So much awesome black history, inventions, and successes have been hidden or suppressed. Yeah, it has. It's a shame. Now, I watched the news, and Trump says Kim Jong loves his people. He loves his people. He loves his country. And he he killed his own uncle and half brother. He loves his people. I was trying to give Donald Trump a break. When I saw that he was getting ready to meet with this man, I applauded it. I said, well, this could turn out to be good. But he did it because he wants a Nobel Peace Prize, number 1. Number 2, he did it because he wants to do what no other president did. And when you try to do a good deed for the sake of a nation or the sake of a family or people so that you could be on top, you're in it for the wrong reason. That's narcissistic ways that I'm seeing even in our churches, okay? The Bible says, esteem them greater than yourself. And it's difficult for this man to do that. So again, watch it. Whenever you see him talking to the nation about this whole deal, number 1, he's going to be bragging on this meeting every day. Every time you see the news, you go to his Twitter feed, and for this entire week, he's going to be bragging about that meeting, about what he accomplished, number 1. Number 2, he's going to continue to tell you that no president in history ever shook hands with a North Korean leader. None. And he's definitely going to bring in Barack Obama. Watch, I'm trying to prophesy to y'all. That's what he's going to do this week. Number 3, his people are going to continue to bring up Nobel, and he's going to drink that like water. That's the purpose why he went over there. Not so much for the betterment of America, but for the betterment of his name and his legacy. Now, do all presidents do that for their legacy's sake? Yes, they do. But this man right here, oh boy. Yeah. Yep, doing it for glory. He's doing it for his own glory. So he can have it. Now, if the Lord allowed this man to do this for his glory and it brings about peace, then by all means, let the man have his glory. I don't care. If God is in the detail. I did a show called The End Time, the 9 Wars against Israel. And I talked in detail about, and I'm reading the notes my notes here that I presented to you about the 9 wars. You can go to my YouTube channel, and I talked about the battle of Armageddon. Okay, I talked about the 7 nations that Donald Trump banned. He banned these nations for a reason. He banned, I think it was Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, and Sudan. And he banned those 7 nations for a reason. All right? And none of these nations he have any business. All right? So the nations that he did have business in, he didn't ban those. He was banning those nations because of the xenophobic, all right, for xenophobia reasons only. All right? And we talked about the war of Gog and Magog, a two-ball and rush, and this whole thing with Russia. There's 3 nations that we have to be careful of and pay close attention to. These are our biggest threats. That's China, that's Russia, and of course that's North Korea. We got to really, really pay close attention to those 3 nations. And, well, Gosh, and their allies are extremely strong, and they will jump in because they have to. Now our allies are there, and they're strong. They could be stronger, but this thing is really a cat and mouse chase, and it's a game of manipulation, mental manipulation, because I believe that Kim Jong know the weakness of the mind of Donald Trump, and he manipulated him. That's what he did. How can you go from fighting like you did just a few weeks ago and calling each other all kind of names to saying, all right, I'm playing. No, I'm going to come over here and meet with you. How could you go from saying we're going to destroy North Korea to saying, all right, you want to come over and meet with me, you can. That showed North Korea something. That showed the weak. There is a loose chain. There is a cat in the line, and North Korea knows it. And Donald Trump is the best thing that happened to North Korea. Yeah, I don't think y'all get it. Also, you got to understand that North Korea is also almost at starvation level. They need the United States because their people are hungry and starving, and this was a way for the United States to help them, even though they want to destroy us, but they're going to use us. Ooh-wee. Anybody seeing any of this? Anybody? He's alienating our allies, so we may not have enough. Come on, that's it. That's it. Victoria Court, I'm trying to tell you, this is a perfect storm. This is the wiles of the devil. This is Satan at his best. He is dividing and conquering. Number one, you piss off your help, your allies, okay, and weaken your stand in the world, and then in comes this dictator who says, let's pile up. Let's come together, Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, let's pile up. And you see, David at one time went over there to the Philistines. Did he not? Ooh, we in trouble here with this lesson right here. Let's pile up, okay, so that we can come together as a unified force. I help you, because the enemy of mine enemy is what? My friend. That's what's happening here with America and North Korea. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. China is over here. South Korea is nervous as heck. And China is over here. We got sanctions on them. We got sanctions in Cuba. We got sanctions in North Korea. We got sanctions everywhere. And then before you know it, we're going to weaken and loosen the sanctions little bit by little bit. It's the Trojan horse effect. Get ready, and then the Antichrist will come. If y'all don't see this in prophecy right now, wake up. The owner of the field was tilling the ground, you see. He was tilling the ground, and then he went to rest. He went away, that is, and while men were asleep, the enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. And they asked the owner of the land, the tiller of the ground, hey, I thought you was sowing wheat in there, but we see tares. And the owner of the land said something very interesting. What did he say? He says, the enemy must have done this while y'all was asleep. Notice what the Bible didn't say. The Bible never said that the owner or the tiller of the land fell asleep. No. It says, while men were asleep. And the owner knew. See, the people who went to sleep and woke up didn't know where these tares came from. But the owner of the land knew that it was the enemy. So what did the owner say? The owner says, well, we've got to let them grow together. Why? We can't pluck them up, because if you pluck the tare, you're going to pluck up the wheat, because they both, if you know agriculture and if you know what a wheat and a tare look like, they both look alike. Oh, man. Ooh-wee. They both look alike. As they're growing and blossoming, they look like twins. And you trying to pluck out the tare, that was the wheat you just plucked. So the owner of the land says, wait until harvest time. Why? Because by harvest time, one buds and the other one leans over like that. The one that's leaning over, that's your crop right there. Woo-wee. So you ain't smart enough, you ain't tapped spiritually enough to know which one it is, so let them grow together. Oh, Lord have mercy. So that's what's happening here. For those of you who don't know anything about eschatology, or you have no relationship with God, you don't talk with him, and you don't study your scriptures, all these things are happening around you and you're blinded to it because you are asleep and you're praising this man, the imperial king, president, who is walking around in a circle and he don't really know what he's doing. He's pulling on the advice of counselors, and he's pulling on his experience as a businessman. But then he found something that he has exclusive power unchecked, and that's called pardoning. And so he's going to pardon as many people as he can, because that's the only thing that he knows that he can do that has unchecked power. It has nothing to do with checks and balances. One can't cover the other. The executive branch can't cross over into the legislative branch, can't cross over to the executive branch, okay? Judicial branch, they just can't. When it comes to pardons, that's the president. And even though it is the Department of Justice says, okay, come through us, the president says, I don't have to come through you. I have unchecked power to do this. And that's the only thing that he knows that he can do. Oh, man. I know this is some problem. And so there's that war of Gog and Magog out of Ezekiel 38 and 39. And these things need to be restudied, retaught in our Sunday school classes and with your children, so you'll know and warn the people of what's getting ready to come. Isaiah 66 and 8. And who has ever seen anything as strange as this? It says, who ever heard of such a thing? Has a nation ever been born in a single day? Has a country ever come forth in a mere moment? Poof. But by the time Jerusalem's birth pains begin, her children will be born. Birth pains. Any of you are mothers out there? Ooh-wee. Anybody out there ever had children know about them birth pains, and it hit you, and then it goes away for a little while, and then it hits you, but then before you know it, it hits you like this, and then it hits you like this. Every minute it's hitting you. After a while, the doctor or the nurse tell you to check your watch to see when the last time you had a pain. That's what's happening right now in America. Birth pains. And the earth is with travail, that the Bible says. It's with travail. It's with child. And I don't know if it's at the 8th month or the 9th month, but that trimester, it's centimeters long. I had about 3 biological kids, and I was in the hospital, and what y'all call that when it's what is it called it when y'all? I don't want to be too gory. Well, but the doctor or the nurse measuring that tube that had holes, said, oh yeah, and she put her hand in, yeah, he ready. Bring on the midwife. Come on now. So there are some wars that will happen prior to the second coming of Christ. I mentioned the wars. I go on YouTube on my channel. I mentioned it. Dilating. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I was about to say dialect. Men are so stupid. We don't know nothing about child rearing, okay? That dilating, yeah, man. I remember hearing that man say when my son was coming, yeah, it's dilating, and they gave a number. I'm like, what that mean? My wife at the time said, just shut up and listen to the man. Okay, all right, whatever. What, 8 centimeters? What is it? Dilating to 10. That's what that is? I'm like, okay, well, y'all, go ahead, baby, and dilate and get that boy up out of there. So the earth right now is with child. It's travailing. It's crying out. It's screaming, push, push. And you just hold. My wife held my hand, and she squeezed it so hard she almost broke my hand. That's the earth. And she just push. The constant war, the War of Independence, 1948 to 1949. And that's when the United States proclaimed that Israel would be a nation. Ooh! Then the Suez War, 1956. The Six-Day War, 1967. The War of Attrition, 1967 and 1970. The Yom Kippur War, 1973. The Lebanese War of 1982. The first Arab Intifada, that was 1987 to 1993. The first Gulf War, we just mentioned that. 1991, they just went out there and the enemy saw them out there and says, we ain't fighting. And they surrendered. Y'all remember that? The Gulf War? And that's Persia. For those of you who may not understand, names were changed to, to protect the innocent. At Persia, you got the Mesopotamia. These names have been changed. Turkey, and then you had Iran. And Iran is a new name. Okay, it was used to anyway. Anyway, you got to know that stuff. All right, and then the second Arab Intifada happened in 2000 to 2004. That's during George Bush Sr. And then the Hezbollah, that happened in your time, 2006. And then the war with Hamas, not hummus, not that thing that y'all eat. Okay, that's 2008 to 2009. These are the wars against Israel. All right, then I believe the war of Gog, Magog, Tubal, and Rush, and things like that will happen. All right, and these things here, there are nations that are in Scripture that are mentioned that's going to go against Israel, but these nations don't border Israel, but these nations will go against them, and these are the allies of Russia. So understand, if we are against Russia, but Russia have allies that's on their side. One is Libya, then Iran, then Sudan, and Turkey. These are powerful nations, y'all. And when you look in Scripture, you don't really see these names because they change, because one is Put, the other one is Persia. Remember I said Iran's name was changed to Iran, I think in the 1935, somewhere around there, I think. Well, Iran was called Persia, okay? The kings of Persia, you got to go to Daniel. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying my best to make this plain. And then, of course, you saw the name Cush in the Old Testament. That's today's Sudan. And then Gomar and Beth, that's today up there in Turkey. These are going to go against Israel. Oh, man. And then Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, these names, okay, the border states, they pop up into prophetic history, and it's very important to understand who they are. You probably need to go to Psalms 83, and I mentioned that earlier. They want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Yeah, an extermination. Israel will eventually destroy Damascus. Y'all remember the Damascus Road? Yeah, Damascus. Isaiah chapter 17, Jeremiah 49, Damascus. Israel is going to take care of that. Yeah. I got to shut this down. Ooh-wee, because there's going to be a war in the heavens, y'all. I don't plan to be down here during that time. And for those of you who are part of the teaching of pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, amillennial, and all these words that you may have heard, I think you should study them. You go into Revelation chapter 1, 2, 3. Talks about, I will protect you from this destruction. I will remove you, I will remove you out of it. And then chapter 4 happens. We're in heaven. And the elders and us are up there singing, holy, 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 while chaos is happening on the earth. That is the first 3.5 years of the tribulation. And then there's silence in heaven. the second half of the Great Tribulation happens. This is a study that you all need to just pay attention to. I've done too many shows on that, and so I'm going to stop right here. And you can go on my YouTube channel and hear the rest of the whole matter. All right? It might help you, or maybe you're just not interested. I can't help you with that. All right? Anybody got any questions? I want to be caught up and gone. Yes, sir. Yes, Ivancha says. Victoria says, Plato and Socrates made predictions about Trump long ago. All right, Victoria. Now, one thing that I think we got to be careful of, though. Y'all remember, what's his name? What is the one that they always mentioning who prophesied for hundreds of years? My wife acting up. That means I need to go. What is the prophet? Who was the prophet? They always talk about. He prophesied all these things of world history. What is his name, y'all? Before I go. What is his name? He's from Europe, I think. I'm talking about hundreds of years ago. He was the great prophet. They always bring his name up. Thank you, Vanessa. Nostradamus. Yeah. Now, they debunked a lot of his prophecies because what he did was his prophecies were what is the word? There is a word. His predictions were because they call them quadrants. His predictions were like what prophets use today in our churches. They're like tricks, but there's a word that they use. There's a tactic that they use to get to you to validate who they are. When they be calling out these addresses and social security numbers and all these things and names and your uncle this and all that, when they actually use a tactic that magicians use, and those who are part of illusionists. Yeah, they use those, and Nostradamus used them as well. Many of Nostradamus's so-called predictions were false. Hey, James Palmore. Man, before I shut this off, there is a word that they used to describe his tactic. Oh. I may have to put it in the comments after the show because it is in my head, and I can't. You ever had something right there? I'm trying to use my computer because a lot of times when I take notes, if I put the name in my notes, it'll take me to one of my teachings, but I can't find it. Gosh. Yeah, I can't. I can't think of it. They say he's a tyrant. They say, who's a tyrant? Who's a tyrant? Nostradamus or Kim Jong? Who are you talking about? Yeah, they say that he predicted the 9/11 attacks. He predicted the president. He predicted World War. He predicted the end of the world. Prophecies. The word came to me and it left. Trump, yes. And he is like a tyrant. He really is. Oh, gosh. I'm hearing the word in my head, and but I can't get it out. Oh man! And this has gone too long. It's gone an hour and 24 minutes. I hate that because you can't go back and redo it. You can't go back and redo this show. Yeah, you just can't. Let me see if I type his name in here in my notes here. Oh man, gosh. I know. Is it here? Oscar, Tony. This is the longest I've ever paused, y'all. I'm sorry. It's not here. Yeah. It's not here. As soon as I hit that off button, watch what happens. Watch. Okay. It's not there. I was trying to type in Google, a certain way, because I've only heard it one time, and when I heard it, I did a study on it, and it made sense why so many prophets are so effective in deceiving the people. Yeah. Oh wait, let's see here. Let me see here. I guess this is the after show with the pause. Yeah. I'll put it in the comments. Yeah. I'll just write it in the comments when I'm done. All right, y'all. Let me go. Hit the share button if you can. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Hit the bing, hit the bell. Share this with your friends and folks. And I'm sure every time I pause, I hear the word. Share this with somebody in there. And we can go from there. June 30th, meet me, my birthday. June 30th, 41st and King Drive. 4100 South King Drive. June the 30th, Saturday. 5 o'clock. 70s attire. Let's party like it's 1975. I gotta stop that. Y'all know what's happening, right? Yeah. Let me stop. Turn this off. Because it's driving me crazy. You're welcome, Beatrice. You're so welcome. All right. I just can't give it up. I just can't give it up, Beatrice. I can't give it up. And I'm a smart guy. I really am. Y'all ask the Lord for recall. It's 2 words. It's a compound word. What are you saying? Victoria, blessings to you. I don't feel so intelligent today, though. Oh, man. Yeah. All right. I guess I'm stretching it because I hear the word. All right, I'll study it tonight and get back to you. Because more and more people are dropping out. More and more people are dropping out. Yeah, it's a way to it's like a reverse. It's a reverse of prophecy. What's that? Okay. All right. I can't. I can't. Yeah. I hear it. But if I say it, it's going to be wrong. It starts with an I-N. I got that far in my brain. All right, then. Bye, y'all. Sir on the Jones Show.